China's yuan is on track for its biggest monthly fall against the dollar in more than 25 years. Eunice Yoon joins us now with more, and maybe tell us the latest you know about what's happening in Hong Kong and how you see that potentially playing out as well this weekend, Eunice.
Thanks so much, Joe. I think I'll start with the tariffs and then I'll go into Hong Kong. But for the tariffs, we're just 2 days away before those new tariffs kick in. On Sunday, a little bit after midnight, Eastern Standard Time, the U.S.'s tariffs, it's about 15%. It's a 15% tariff. It's going to hit $125 billion worth of Chinese goods. China's going to add an extra 5 to 10% tax to their first tranche of $75 billion worth of goods, U.S. goods, of course, including soybeans. The foreign ministry today said that it hoped the U.S. would, quote, show its sincerity with real action. And that's being interpreted as China's way to make another a call for the U.S. to end the tariffs. Now, the yuan is also headed for the worst month since 1994. It dropped by 3.7% in the month of August. And there are signs now that the authorities here are getting more nervous about the weakness in the renminbi. There was a report in the Nikkei, Japanese newspaper, which suggested that banks are being told by regulators to put in some more restrictions for their foreign currency conversions involving the renminbi, and also that real estate developers have been limited their access to foreign currency bonds. Now, separate to that, with the Hong Kong police, they have now confirmed that they have arrested 3 pro-democracy activists. One of them is a man named Joshua Wong, who was known as one of the key organizers for the what was known as the Umbrella Movement back in 2014, which involved mass demonstrations. And state media have been accusing Wong's organization of, quote, ruining Hong Kong, and has been calling Wong the activist who creates chaos in the city. Today here in China, we also saw a lot of news outlets playing more videos of police drills along the border in Hong Kong, sending that message again that Beijing is ready to step in if it needs to. Now, the Hong Kong government has said that they have everything under control. But, of course, this comes right before massive protests were scheduled for this weekend, and the organizers had called off those protests because they weren't able to get the proper permissions yet to have those demonstrations. But they are vowing to continue to fight to try to get more of those permissions in order to get their voices heard. Guys?
You wonder, are they really drills in case something happens, or is it a show of force to send a message? Hopefully it's the latter, I guess, right, Eunice?
Yeah. Well, they're definitely drills, but we don't really know the purpose. You know, like you said, it could just be a show, which is what it looks like, just a way to kind of scare the protesters. But, it's difficult to say because, we're not there as to whether or not they're and know exactly what the government is up to. Now, another story that was actually late breaking, guys, that was pretty interesting and involves kind of the temperature of what's happening with the government is that Beijing expelled a Wall Street Journal reporter. This just happened in the past couple of hours, where all day today we were hearing within the Foreign Press Corps rumors that one of the Wall Street Journal reporters, his name is Chen Han Wong, who is a Singapore national, that he might get kicked out of the country. And it was because he wrote a story about President Xi's cousin and some allegations of gambling as well as potential money laundering in Australia by President Xi's cousin. So the Wall Street Journal had confirmed that the Beijing authorities have not renewed this reporter's press credentials, and those press credentials expire today. So he is leaving, and as you guys could imagine, there are a lot of sensitive topics to talk about in China, but to write about the financial wealth of some of the top leadership, especially President Xi Jinping, is seen as a very taboo topic. So, so he's going to be leaving today.
Cartoon characters if that gets him mad, I mean, you can only imagine what this would.
Yeah.
I just wonder what the tip, if there is a time when they just say, all right, enough. I'm wondering what would, because it seems like they're able to sort of manage it in half measures right now without really, showing the entire world what they're capable. I don't think they want to do that, right? I wonder if there's and then the protesters are going to keep pushing until, I mean, they seem to want to force their hand, so I don't know how it finally quiets down.
Yeah, no, it's actually gotten tighter, and I mean, we've been talking about this for a while. There's also a big important event that's coming up, the 70th anniversary of the founding of the People's Republic, which is happening on October 1st. Right. So just in the past couple of days, everybody's been starting to complain about the challenges on the internet. This is probably going to continue for the next month. It's very common when we have these major events that are happening in China because the government just wants to clamp down on any potential, pretty much anything that could be seen as disruptive. And one other thing, Joe, that when you were asking me before about the implications of why the government here and the state media would be describing these activists in such negative terms, again, it's a way to try to dismiss them and say that this is a tiny part of the population, because the whole idea that upstanding Chinese citizens who have jobs and are very thoughtful could potentially go against the Communist Party is something that's the Communist Party thinks is unheard of, and they don't want that narrative out there.